Hey guys, it's Izzy here, and today we are in a different location because it is Christmas Eve, so Merry Christmas Eve, so I want to be extra festive and film with my Christmas tree in the background. So I'm all dressed up today because, as I said, it is a holiday, so I don't know if this hat is on right, so I could look pretty stupid or I could look pretty French, you don't know, or I don't know actually, but today we are going to be talking about my top 10 favorite albums. Music is my number one love in life, and I don't think that will ever change. So I thought it would be cool just to show you all my favorite albums. And if y'all would like a playlist with maybe my favorite songs from these albums, I can definitely do that. Just let me know down below in the comments if y'all would be interested in seeing that video. So the albums are not going to be in any particular order just because it is so hard to choose which one I like more than the other. But I do know my number one favorite album, and that is Appetite for Destruction from Guns N' Roses. That is the band's debut album, and I'm trying to get my list pulled up on my phone. So that's the band's debut album. It came out in 1987. Now they did have some like EPs and all before that, before a real deal album. That was the first album that the band ever came up with. And I don't even know what I love so much about this album, but the thing that is cool is that each member of Guns N' Roses has had such a different style, such a different favorite kind of music, and for their music, they put all of those different tastes together to make their own, and I think that is one reason why Guns N' Roses is so good. So our next album is a Guns N' Roses album as well. Again, this is not in any particular order from this point on. So that album is Use Your Illusion 2 by Guns N' Roses, obviously, and that album came out in 1991. Now, this album does have a very, southern rock feel to it, and it's kind of bluesy at some points. It didn't sell as much as Use Your Illusion 1, which was the album, they came out together the same day. I can definitely see why it didn't sell more, because I would buy the first album before I bought personally, I would probably buy both albums at the same time, but let's say you didn't have money to buy two, you would obviously buy one first, so I think that is why Use Your Illusion 1 did make more money. But my favorite Guns N' Roses song is on Use Your Illusion 2, and that is You Could Be Mine, and I love that song. So now we are going over to Motley Crue, which is one of the biggest bands of the 1980s, and we are starting out with Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue, which was released in 1983. I think this is the greatest album intro ever, with that talking at the start, and then it goes just into Shout at the Devil after that. It's so cool and so fun to listen to in the car and have it turned up all the way. That is just one of those albums that I can never go wrong listening to. I don't even think there's a bad song on that album. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Same with Appetite. I don't think there's a bad song on Appetite. So our next, that was actually, I got them out of order, but okay. So our next one is Dr. Feelgood by Motley Crue, which came out in 1989. I'm going to say it is a lot of a different sound than Shout at the Devil. I mean, they did come out 6 years apart. At that point, I do think Motley Crue was at their best during the Dr. Feelgood era. This is around the time where the band was sober. I'm not 100% sure on if that was before the album was recorded, after it was recorded, during when it was recorded. I know Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses fans can be pretty nitpicky about that kind of things. They are very protective over bands, which I do love those bands and consider myself a mega fan of them, but I'm not really protective over them. I do think Motley Crue was at their best during the Dr. Feelgood era. I think they looked their best and everything, and I do think that is the best era for them. So we are taking it to the 70s now, and that is with A Night at the Opera by Queen, which came out in 1975. So if you saw Bohemian Rhapsody, you see really the making of that album. There's so many iconic songs on this album. I love the album cover. If you didn't know, the Queen logo, all those are the band's zodiac signs. So you have the two lions for John Deacon and Roger Taylor. You have the crab, which is a Cancer for Brian May. And then you have the little fairies, which are for Virgo for Freddie Mercury. So I think that's a really cool concept of how their logo is. And this album, I think, is what really made Queen more well known, in my opinion. And I actually bought that album on vinyl. It's one of these few albums on this list that I actually do own. I bought it on vinyl at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. I went there knowing I was going to buy that album because I could not find it cheap anywhere, so I did get it there. So our next album, we are going back to the 1990s. We are going more to thrash metal now, and that is Rest in Peace by Megadeth, which came out in 1990. So I do think this is the best Megadeth lineup with Marty Friedman and Nick Menza on the lead guitar and drums. So we obviously do have David Ellefson still there and Dave Mustaine still there. You have to have the 2 Daves from Megadeth. If both of them are not there, I'm not going to listen to it. But I do think that is the best album by them. There is one song of that album that I don't like. I don't like the vocals on it at all, and I cannot think of the name right now because, as I said, it's a song I don't like, so I don't remember. But I don't like it. So only one bad song, and that we do have Hangar 18 on this album, and the cover does have that alien on it with Vic having his hand over the alien, and then I've heard multiple different things of what that green orb thing is he's holding, but aliens are always cool, so yes. So going back to the 70s again, and this is one of my all-time favorite albums, and it is Damn the Torpedoes by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, which came out in 1979. So this is a really good album. Tom Petty, as I've said many times, is my all-time favorite artist, and I feel like his songs are very relatable. You can find a song that relates to you, and the same with Guns N' Roses. I think they're very relatable. And I think being relatable is a really good thing in books and in music. Now, I'm not going to dislike it if it's not relatable, no. But I'm just saying that it is very relatable. He is a great songwriter, and I love Tom Petty. So then our last three are all self-titled albums. 2 of those being debut, and 1 being one that came out later in a band's career. But we're going to start with Van Halen by Van Halen, coming out in 1978. Now, this is an album that I listened to, and I'm like, how was this their debut album? It is just so good. Like, it just amazes me that was the band's first album. Their first album, and it sounds like that. It's just amazing. There's one song I don't like on it, and that's the Ice Cream Man, but that's just, I know a lot of people like that song, but it's not for me. So that's the only one that I don't like, but other than that, it is a fantastic album. So our next one is Metallica by Metallica, and that came out in 1991, and I was actually wearing that shirt earlier before I changed into this. That is the Black Album, as that's what's commonly referred to by fans. So this album does have a ton of iconic songs, the most iconic being Enter Sandman, which I think is the most well-known Metallica song, and maybe the best or the most well-known metal song. It's such a good album. I've said that about like all of these, because obviously if they were bad, they wouldn't be one of my favorite albums. So The Unforgiven is on this album, and Sad But True, I'm pretty sure it's on this album. Just so many songs that I think are so well known in metal are on that album. So our last album is Kiss by Kiss, that came out in 1974. So this album did not do well when it first came out, and that's something I really don't understand, why Kiss didn't sell well when they first came out and didn't start becoming well known and obviously as big as they are today when Alive came out. I just don't get it, because I think the sound is perfectly fine. I do think it does sound different than the other bands that were out around this time. So I don't know why it didn't sell that great for when it first came out. I mean, for their first few albums, they were not doing well in sales. They weren't well known, and I don't know why. I mean, obviously, seeing them in concert, I do think the makeup and the outfits really brought in a lot. But obviously, if nobody is buying the albums how's the tour gonna work out and all that. I don't know, but yeah, that's just something that I really don't understand why that album did not do well in sales when it first came out. But 3 of my favorite Kiss songs are on there: Strutter, Cold Gin, and Black Diamond are all on that album. They're great songs from the 70s. I totally recommend checking them out. And that is going to be the video today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And I hope you are having a very Merry Christmas. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, just happy holiday season in general. So, bye guys.